Hello, it's Marlon here from marlonmcpherson.com, and today I'm talking about domain names. Specifically, I want to talk about how to go about choosing a good domain name for your online brand. Now, what are domain names? Domain names are essentially what you type into an address bar in a browser to get to a website. So it makes it easy for you to get to someone's website. For example, mine is marlonmcpherson.com. If you want to go to something like the BBC News website, you could go to bbc.com or bbc.co.uk. If you're in another country like Canada, you might have cbc.ca, which is representative of their country, so the CA part of it. Now, choosing a domain name is the first step towards getting your website up online. So even if you haven't got the website ready yet to go, you do need to have the domain name registered so you can then point that domain name to the website when you have it online. Because basically you can point the domain name to whichever location online. It's like a routing system that does its thing behind the scenes, and all you got to do is register the one that you want to use. Now, it's really important to choose a very good domain name for your website, essentially one that is going to be representative of your brand, one that is going to be easy for you to market and easy for people to basically type in. So you want to avoid some things with choosing the domain name. But before I get to that, let's talk about how to actually get a domain name. So getting a domain name is sort of a system where you register it with a service, and this registration is very easy to do. You just find a registrar online. So for example, I use dynodot.com for my domain names currently, but you have loads of different ones out there. For example, GoDaddy as well, godaddy.com. They are really more versed at domain name registration. However, they're not really good for hosting, so I don't recommend them for that, but I do recommend them for domain name services. So you could register it anywhere you want to, but just go with one that is going to give you the right price and the right features that I say features because the service can actually come with additional things that you might need to manage the domain name. So just look at what's available there. Dynodot.com, the one that I use mainly, it has the fact that, you're able to search for the type of domain you want. So for example, if your business is Bob's Cars, then your domain name could be bobscars.com. Now, it doesn't mean that you will definitely have that available because somebody else might have already registered bobscars.com. It's kind of like, okay, a telephone number. If you want a specific telephone number and somebody already has registered that number, you can't get that number. So what you'll need to do is to find something that's similar or find something that is, just find an alternative. So provided that bobscars.com is available, you can go ahead and just pay for that. It's not very expensive if it's just a standard domain name that isn't considered premium. A standard domain name typically costs you anywhere between say $10 and $20 for 1 year. If you don't renew it, it will just go back into the marketplace and somebody else can register it. So you do have to register it or renew the registration over time. You can do it for longer by maybe doing it for a few years. If you know that definitely you're going to want to keep this domain name, it's worth just paying for it up front. Now, once you've registered your domain name, you're able to then, like I said, manage it and point it towards a website. Now, what happens if you cannot get your domain name on .com? Because I recommend that you use .com where possible, because this is the most common type of domain name that you'd find. So the dot and whatever comes after the dot is called the TLD, the top level domain, or the extension. That determines the full address. So it's two parts. You have the name itself that you actually choose, and then the dot, whatever it is, .com, .co.uk, .net, etc. Now, .com is the most common. So if someone's going to guess your business, your domain name for your business, they're going to most likely try .com with whatever your business name is. So it's a good idea to just have the .com where possible. If you can't, then go ahead and register something else. Like there are really popular ones out there now, like .co or .co. And like I said, you could use something like a country-specific code, or TLD rather, which is like .co.uk, or if you're in Australia, it would be .com.au and so on. You could just look up what your top level domain is for your country. Now, in terms of choosing the right domain name for your business, other than just having the extension correct, you want to make sure that whatever you use is going to be easy for someone to remember, because this is what the domain name is really for. Behind the scenes, there are a set of numbers that normally would take you to a website online, and no one's going to remember that combination of numbers. So that's why people use names instead, because names are memorable. So make sure that you use something that's easy to spell and not have any dashes or anything unusual inside it that's not very easy for someone to remember, because you want to make it as easy as possible for them to get to the site. Also, make sure it's easy for you to say, because you're going to have to say this to people if they ask what's your website, or if you're doing something like some kind of promotion where it's going to be recorded in terms of voice or in a video or something. You want to be able to say it and it rolls off the tongue without having to think too much or without having it sounding weird. So avoid things like dashes. Like I said, for example, you wouldn't want to have Bob's Cars Limited or something like that .com, because it's a bit awkward saying a dash. You just have everything all in one, and having it as short as possible. The shorter the better. Obviously, if you haven't got the ability to shorten it, then you might want to just say out the whole company name, provided that in itself isn't too long. Another little tip I have for you with domain names is to also register multiple extensions or TLDs for your brand. So for example, if you get the .com, you might want to also get your country specific one along with that, and then forward that address to the other, simply because if someone types in .com and .co.uk or .co.uk, it will still take them to the same website. So you might have the website on .com, but you also want to allow for people typing in other extensions that they think it might be. So having the .co.uk or whatever your country code is for your TLD, you could have that registered as well. It just means that you're paying for two different domain names, but one can be forwarded to the other. If you got any questions about this, leave me comments if you're watching this on YouTube or on another platform. Also, you can drop me an email. Just head over to my website, marlonmcpherson.com, and use the contact page there. You can fill out the form and it will send me an email. I'll do my best to reply, or do a video or some sort of content to reply to that. What I'd love for you to do now is to check out one of my other videos on screen that's going to help you with your content marketing or your website strategy, and I'll speak to you in the next one.